Welcome, gentlemen, to Tanya Outside In, Perek Lamed Beis, the famous, iconic. It's the iconic chapter of Tanya, Lamed Beis, which spells heart, and a lot of people say this is the heart of Tanya. This is this is the very essence of what the Sefer is about. Um, and I understand why people say that. Okay, Perek Lamed Beis. Let's see if we can get through it. It's not very difficult, but also just remember. Um, this won't sound maybe revolutionary to you, and the reason why it won't sound revolutionary to you is because the Rebbe said it 230 years ago, and the reason why it's not revolutionary anymore is because the Rebbe said it. It still might be a little bit, but just remember, there's a lot of things in Tanya that have become like normative Yiddishkeit, and they're just like, well, well that was the Chiddush there, where the Chiddush was that Tanya articulated it for us. Just keep that in mind. So this is one of those chapters. Yitzi, you gonna say something? Okay. Pet Lama Base. Vihine, Oide Kiyam Devayim Hanal. Remember what we did in chapters 29, 30, 31 is we assassinated our Nefesh Bahamis. A we induced our own Shvir Salev. Remember, the danger of the Benoni is that he becomes smug with his level because he's a Gewaldiker guy. He's mamash a really choshev guy, yeah, and he has the danger of identifying with who he is or with his avoider, and then he falls into trouble. By the way, I think this is the Inyan of Paro, the on a psychological level, that Hashem hardened Paro's heart. The Inyan of a hard heart is this idea of a person who has identified with X, Y, or Z, and that's the Inyan. So, and a segula for more identification is identification. The more deeply you identified, the more you identify, the more deeply you become identified, and you just fall into very, very deep unconsciousness, and that's not good. Okay, so after all of this stuff, the avoider that we've gone through of basically the Benoni who has started to identify with how great he is, he's basically said to himself, "Listen, Shlomi, you're not that great. We've looked into all these different things about you, and we've taken out a microscope to your avoider, and we've determined that you've actually got quite a long way to go. Yeah, don't think you're so great. Just the fact that you are." Just the fact that you've got some kind of sense of independent self is anyway enough to define you as being literally the opposite of Hashem. And then we said, and I'm also lower than everybody else because if everybody else had been given, been born with the silver spoon like I was, given the kind of education, the kind of parents, the kind of social, weather, etc., yeah, temperament, then they would probably be much better than I am. And now that was Perek Lamed. Then Perek Lamed Aleph was now trying to turn it around by saying, get get now re-identify with the Nefesh Elokis. And so that's really the Eitzah, is the Benoni falls into smugness. He becomes identified with his Madrega, with his Avoida. You break it down by saying, really, I'm not that great. I'm not that great. In fact, I'm really, I'm literally the lowest of the low. And now at that point, you pivot and you turn it into a positive, and you can now disidentify from the egoic state and re-identify with the godly state. And now this is kind of like a side point in a sense. It kind of goes off. It says like this is a fringe benefit of having disidentified from the Nefesh of Bahamis and having identified with the Nefesh of Kis. This is a fringe benefit. Perek Lamed Beis. Okay. Perek Lamed Beis. Vehine. Oidei kiyam devayim hanal. After doing everything that we spoke about above, lios gufoy nevazev nimas be'enav, that the goof, yeah, which is like a code word for saying the nefesh of Bahamis, yeah, or the egoic self, has now become despicable and disgusting in your eyes. Rak simchaso tihi es simchas nefesh levada. That the simcha that you're experiencing is coming from the nefesh lakis. Harizu derech yeshar v'kala levoi ledei ki mitzvahs v'havta l'recha kamoicha. This is a straight and simple path to arrive at the mitzvah of v'havta l'recha kamoicha. B'chol nefesh Misrael, l'megodo v'yad cotton, to love every Jew, whether he's great, whether he's small. How so? Ki me'achas shegufoi nirmas u'mesua v'etzloi, that since the goof is now disgusting by him, v'nefesh v'ruach mi yoideh gudlasam u'ma'alasam b'shorish l'makoyim be'elokim chaim, and who knows, who could ever fathom the infinite the amazingness, whatever, the greatness of where they come from, the source of the nefesh is. B'shegam shekulan mit'emois v'av echad l'kulanu, because all of them are like equal, like symmetrical, and they're all from one father. L'chei nikru kol Yisrael achim mamash. Therefore, Yisrael are called achim mamash, brothers mamash. Mitzad shurish nafshem, that's the important words. Mitzad the shoresh of their nefesh, we are considered brothers, yeah? Not as it comes down through madregas and madregas, but as we are as at the shoresh. Mitzad shurish nafshem, b'Hashem echad, rak shagufim mechulakim. Rak the bodies are differentiated. And if your goof is what's choshev to you, which is what makes me different from you, yeah? It can't be a true love, any love of the ego is going to be dependent on something. True love can only come. See, I don't know, because according to this, then it couldn't be that a regular human being could love another.
They can't really. Real love is only possible on the neshama level.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds corrupt to me, but I hear what you're saying. I don't like that. But
You're saying you could give up your life. The fact that you would give up your life for someone else means that it is on that madrega?
it doesn't have to be that you'll give up your life for them, but just a genuine love for another without it being talu b'dava. I don't know. I mean, I would like to
Again, if the
think.
nefesh Bahamas is still boer, that means that your selfish intentions always a little bit mixed in to everything that you do, no? Didn't we talk about that last week?
Yeah, but we're talking now about being mechaber to the nefesh. He says just the nefesh. L'chayri, he means the nefesh lekis. Maybe he's talking about the nefesh maskeles, but that wouldn't be shorish echad. It's for sure talking about nefesh lekis. But okay, I don't maybe it could be a very very subtle talyu bedava. I don't know. I don't know. We should ask Hashem. V'zeh she'ama hillel zakein al kiyam mitzvah zu zeu kolato kuloi v'idach perushahu. It's funny because Hillel doesn't really say that. He says Dalayich Sanilch Ve'echlo Savid, but nearly all the Sfarim like kind of talk of them interchangeably until they start getting very, granular. And that's the whole Torah. What? And then he says, Ki Yesoid V'Shorosh Kol Torah Lagbia Ulalois Hanefesh Al Haguf Maila Ad Yakwe V'Shosha the Kol Almin V'Gam Lahamshich or Einzoi Borchu B'Knesses Yisrael. That the whole Inyan Ki Yesoid V'Shorosh Kol Torah, yeah, the entire Inyan of the Torah is that you raise up the nefesh over the goof, meaning that you identify with the nefesh lekis, and not the goof, not the nefesh Bahamis. That's the avoider of the yid. Yeah, to be identified with the nefesh lakis. Remember, we said the regular human says, "I am that." Yeah, the enlightened human says, "I am," and the yid says, "I am yours." What's the I? Well, the regular human being is identified with something. So I am that. The that is the X. I am X. I am that. I am a lawyer. I am a Miami Dolphins fan. Don't know where that came from. I am I am a Catholic. I am a father. Yeah, I am fill in the blank. That's I am that. Then the enlightened human being has disidentified. So he's just, I am. I'm not that. That's a very, I mean, you don't meet many people like that. Believe me, you do not meet many people like that at all. Maybe, hopefully, in our little Zoom room here, there's maybe a couple of us. But Lamaisa, to rise beyond the level of I am that is rare, extremely rare. But the Yid says, I am yours. Why? Because he has now, it could be the Yid could say, I am that and I am yours at the same time. You can't have I am that and I am at the same, those two can't exist at the same time. But you can, I suppose, have a I am that and I am yours at the same time. Because that's the dichotomy of the Jew. He's got an ego, a nefesh Bahamis, and he's also got a nefesh Lakis. So the nefesh Lakis says, I am yours. The Nefesh Bahamis says, I am that. The Nefesh Maskeles says, I am.
I am, therefore I think.
He doesn't say that, no. He just says, I am. No, I am, therefore I think. That's much more true than I think, therefore I am. Did you say that on purpose?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very true statement. That's a much more true statement. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. That's a very true
I mean,
statement.
it's the nefesh hamaskelis. It
Yeah,
is a thinking being.
yeah, but it's the Nefesh Bahamis that's the one that identifies. Well, the Nefesh the Nefesh Hamaskelis has got three options. It's either identify with the Nefesh Bahamis, it's identify with the Nefesh Lakis in the Yid, or it's just disidentified. But
What?
when
That's
it's
like a Buddhist enlightenment.
that would be that I am. Exactly. That's Buddhist enlightenment. I am. I'm just disidentified from everything. Whereas the whole avoid of the Jew is to say, I am yours. Because
Wouldn't
the nefesh of the kis is it belongs to the Rebbeinu Shalom. It is the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's of the Rebbeinu Shalom.
wouldn't saying I am be the same as saying I am nothing or I am not?
Yeah, same
Uh,
thing. Yeah. It's a very nice way of remembering it. I am that. I am. I am yours. That there's you could write a dozen books on that. Literally a dozen books on that. Literally. Okay, let's keep going. So the avoid of the yid is to disidentify with the nefesh Bahamis and to re-identify with the nefesh Elokis. And equal to shows that the kol almin begam lahamshich o ein zeh boruch hu b'knesses Yisrael. And by that drawing down all Ein Sof from the shorish of all the Almin, which I suppose is referring to Chochmah, and drawing it down into Knesset Yisrael, which is us down here. Well, Knesset Yisrael is really the shorish of Am Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael is the Shechina. Yeah, so by us doing mitzvahs and it's really, and this is the point, it's really from us doing mitzvahs lishma. Yeah. It's the lishma that causes the transferal of all Ein Sof from Kudsha Baruch into Shchinte, into Knesset Israel. Because if we're not doing them lishma, then it's coming from the Nefesh Bahamis. There's still good stuff happening, yeah. Well, I don't know. Again, it's like I'll tell you the whole idea of like talking, like being done b'chavschus with Klal Yisrael and talking like very, it prevents a lot of like kind of true speech or like technical speech, you know. because it says like it says the Indian of mitzvahs nashim and lamada, like we hear in I've been hearing for many years now, doing mitzvahs just by rote is just ridiculous, yeah. But doing it for the geschmack, doing it for the experience, yeah, that's very heilig. But like we said this morning, or by you it was last night, yeah. That's not Heilig. It's better to do mitzvahs by rote than it is to do it for the experience. When you're doing it for the experience, that's like doing it for Olam Haba. Doing it for Olam Haba and doing it for the experience is the same thing. Yeah, but like we said, it's probably better to do it for Olam Haba because then you know that you're stupid. Whereas if you're doing it for the experience, you think you're cool. Yeah, and then it's really difficult to learn. Again, the experience is for him, not for us. That's so important, and it's the key to just having the most geschmack of life. That's the fruit of it. Once you forget about your own pleasure, or you get over your own pleasure, like I said, Beina Mitzarim. That is such a chosh of what I said one time. That Beina Mitzarim is from Yud Zayin Tammuz to Tisha B'av, yeah. And what's the and that whole period of time is um is when we let go of pleasure, when we make pleasure. That's Bainam at Sarim, meaning what's the ultimate tsar? The ultimate mate tsar is your
Goof.
own Tainug. Is your Tainug is what if you didn't have Tainug, if I tell you what, if someone offered me a button that said your Tainug would mean nothing to you whatsoever, then I would press. I mean, actually, I'd have to think about the ramifications of that. That's a big statement. But Lemaisa, to be able to ascend my own, if you didn't have a Tainug, if the goof didn't have Tainug, then I don't know if you'd be able to get anything done. I'm not sure. But um, but 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 um, but to not be a slave to your Tainug, like Covey said, yeah, Stephen Covey said, money makes a wonderful servant and terrible master. Yeah. And then I said technology makes a wonderful servant and a terrible master. Yeah. But I think the Abisha said Tainug makes a wonderful servant and a terrible master. That
You need it.
encapsulates
You need
all of
it.
it.
But Hashem wants you to serve him with Tanug,
Yeah.
but it has to be that it's serving him,
It's that
not
you're
you.
giving him the Tainug. That's the point.
You're
That is the
you're
ultimate
you're
gift.
you're using it. You're turning it on as needed to help you to put more into the mitzvah.
But,
He wants
but
you to get pleasure
yeah, but
in
no,
mitzvahs,
but that
but
is
for
really.
him, for
But
him.
but that's the gift that you're giving him. That's the gift. You're giving him the Tainug, which is the essence of the your humanity. That's what
It
you're
doesn't
giving
mean
to
giving
Hashem.
up your Tanug.
No,
It
exactly.
means
No, the opposite. It means getting a geschmack in your avodas Hashem, but not
right,
for the geschmack of the avodas Hashem.
right.
It's because that is the ultimate I can give you the avodas Hashem. That is the ultimate offering. That is that is the ultimate thing I can offer to you, avodas Hashem. The ultimate
In a certain way, it's
sacrifice.
harder than giving up your pleasure.
It's
It's
much,
hard to give up your
yeah,
pleasure. It's hard to give up your pleasure. Meaning to say to when you see that Hashem wants you to have a not geschmack davening for whatever reason, it's hard, right? But to have a geschmack davening for him, that's lech lecha. Avram's going to become rich and famous, but it has to be lecha for Hashem.
and that remember is the whole
That's
vort
the Messiah.
of Baloisacha, the Inyana Diyoma. Remember the vort of Baloisacha is that it's easier for us to serve Hashem Lishma in our generation because we don't have the Tainug Nifla that the previous generations had. Because that's really hard to ascend. So now all we need to do is put to the side the fact that I want meaning in my life, that I want to, I want to have a father, a divine father, that I want to feel that I'm doing something, I want to feel choshev, etc. I want to feel necessary, all that kind of stuff. That's much easier, like you just said, to put aside than rather than the actual pleasure that they had in previous generations. Yeah, that's much harder.
Mhm.
Okay, Kamosh Gaz V'Lakaman, Dahainu B'Makor Nishmas Kol Yisrael, that in the source of all of the neshamas of Yisrael, L'Mahave Echad Be'echad Dafka, yeah, that the one will reside in the one, meaning that Hashem will be in the one. V'lo kishiyesh period chas v'shalom, not when there's period. Yeah, when there's period amongst Yidden, that is the worst thing. And the Or Chaim said in a couple of places, remember clearly that. And I think it's just in Chazal as well that Hashem it's better avoid Zara and Achdus than not avoid Zara and period. Yeah, that would be a deef. Hashem would rather have that. Yeah, Paz v'shalom. The truth is there can't be period without avodah zarah. If there's period, there's for sure avodah zarah. Yeah, it's like a funny thing to say because if there's achdus in Am Yisrael, yeah, then there isn't avodah zarah. So that's the point. You can't have achdus. There couldn't be real achdus. It's like the achdus. It says by Mitzrayim when it said by the Yidden we were ish echad kalev echad. Yeah, when the Mitzrayim were chasing after the Yidden, it said belev echad keish echad. Why? Because they were unified in a common hatred of the Yidden. We were Ke'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad. The Chiddush was the Leiv Echad. We always Ish Echad. But at this point we were Leiv Echad. Yeah? By the Mitzrayim, because they were Leiv Echad, because they all equally hated the Yidden, yeah, Ke'ish Echad. I heard today just Yemach Shema, Candice Owens went out like on Ben Shapiro on like I mean this was just I mean I've been hearing a lot of stuff like this was like gloves off Yidden you're mamash evil we want you dead she like called
Whoa.
she literally called to the black community to rise up against the Yidden like I'm telling you we're like really like push it like, listen to it. You'll find it online in 1 second. Yeah, she literally said that it's not the white folk who brought slavery. It's the Jews. She said it. The Jews. She said, and the
What?
Jews think that they own us and that we're not human and that you listen to it. I was like this. It was
Oh
just
my.
we are. I mean, look, it's not a chiddush. This is how life goes. And you've got lovely Jews online, trying to fight back against this anti-Semitism. Yeah, we just need the Yidden to get back to Yiddishkeit. We need the Fry Yidden to get back to mitzvahs. We need the Frumma Yidden to get back to Lishma. That's it. Or you can whine and whinge and shout as much as you like. It's just not the right thing. It's the wrong. You're just putting a if you're not even doing it, you're trying to put a band-aid on the real. The real problem is the fact that baked into reality is if Yidden don't give themselves over to the Boyne Sholem, yeah, we get schmeist. Nikuda. Finished. You want to there's you like it, you don't like it, that is called a principle. Yeah, that is as steadfast, maybe even more steadfast as gravity. There's no way around that. So we just have to, I don't know what to say. Like the Frumma Yidden won't hear the message of Lishma, and the Fry Yidden won't hear the message of Torah and Mitzvahs. I don't know, like where maybe they will. Maybe I'm just in a very small world that I don't know about. But whatever we can do, at least we can take it seriously ourselves. Um, that was bugging because it says the Kodesh Baruch Hu lo yishare but basa pagim Hashem does not reside in a place that is of separation or broken, whatever. Kamosh Kasu,
By the way, wait, Shmuel,
wait, let me just get to
just
the
to
two dots.
clarify. Yeah,
V'ocheinu avinu kulanu ke'echad ba'or paneches v'shem shmona esrei. Hashem bless us, our Father. Kulanu ke'echad. The only way we get bracha is when we're ke'echad. Yeah. Kamosh Kasu b'akamacha ba'arichas. Yeah, Gabriel.
no, just to not be so cynical. A lot of people became from after October 7th.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're right. A
A
lot. Yeah.
lot, a
and
lot,
and, and in a really good way as
and a
well.
lot of Yidden and a lot of Frum Yidden did a lot of Chesed also,
Yeah, no,
which
no,
was
you're
closer
right.
to
Yeah, for sure,
Lishma.
for sure, you're right. And
Yeah.
also the point of the tsaros is that it will bring us back in line. That's just how it goes. So maybe it will be enough to just start hearing these people like there's big. I said before Kanye West, yeah, said about his thing. I always said in my mind, like I know Hashem can do whatever he wants, but to create another Shoah would take Nissim. The world is just not like it was 70 years ago, 80 years ago. That's what I was saying. And then after Kanye West, I realized, wow, you've got these influencers who've got there's no censorship. They can say whatever they want, yeah? And they've got millions of people. Yeah, they've got all it would take is for Candace Owens or any of this chevra, yeah? Especially if they're younger chevra, like more cool chevra, to just turn around and say, listen, this is out of hand. We need to kill the Jews. We need to. You imagine if they said that. Imagine what would happen if they really put, even if it was just, an extra 20 people a day with guns and stuff running around. Imagine what kind of terror
Well,
that would.
the
They've
good
got
news is that you
access
have
to.
you have the liberals versus the conservatives, but imagine if they both came out, which they kind of are, with the
Yeah,
same message,
it has to
and
come.
the Muslims.
It has to happen. It has to happen. We're just watching the same record playing again. It played itself 80, 70, 80 years ago. It played itself 30 odd years before that. It played itself. It plays itself again and again and again. And it's just scary to see it like in real time in front of our eyes. Like I'm telling you, you'll watch the video from Candy Owens, yeah? What she was saying today, even 6 months ago, I didn't think that was possible. What she was saying 6 months ago, I didn't. What I would have said was impossible 2 years ago. Yeah, but that what she said today was literally a call to arms to the black community, saying that it's the Jews who have been persecuting you. They are the ones who enslaved you, and you have to. It was like it's not the white man, it's the Jews. She said it like that. I was like,
What?
wow. It's like she's such like a cute, like little, like nice little woman, yeah. But she's such a demonic force. She's much like, she's like I've said, like, when we asked the question, who's worse? Yeah. Remember that guy in a few weeks ago, a guy went into a shul in Manchester with a knife, yeah, and killed one Yid. Another Yid got killed by friendly fire from the police or whatever it is, yeah. But the guy came into the shul with a knife and killed one Jew, yeah. Who's worse, him or Hitler? Let's say Hitler killed 6 million Jews. Who's worse? Who's more evil? Pasha Pshat is Hitler, yeah? No,
Gonna be hard to argue with this one.
not at all. You know what the difference between Hitler and that guy? Let's call him Harry or Ahmed. What's the
Oh, he was
difference
just more
between them?
capable. He was just more
Yeah, that's
capable.
it. You think that Ahmed wouldn't have killed 6 million Jews if he could? You think he wouldn't have killed 10 million? You think he wouldn't have wiped every single Jew off the planet and tortured them, not just had them die? He just didn't have the seichel, he didn't have the resources, he didn't have the money, he didn't have the charisma, he didn't have the following, he did blah 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 blah. So who's more evil? They're the same. Pasha exactly the same. So you're looking at this. It's the same. It's when you go Lifnim Mishur Sadin, a Chassid looks at Ahmed and Hitler, and he doesn't see any difference. Okay, Hitler killed 6 million of us, yeah, but this guy wanted to kill 6 million of us. He's just an idiot. He's just an incapable idiot. Whereas Hitler was unfortunately a little bit more capable. So do you know what I'm saying? That evil's the same evil. It's just
Wow.
and I'm seeing it now in Candice Owens. Like I'm becoming much more sensitive to this kind of stuff, yeah. And she's like a little nice little woman, you know. When she, give her another 60 years, she'll be a very cute little old lady, yeah. But she's a demonic force. She's a Malik standing against. I mean, she's a force that's standing against God in this world. And
By the
what's
way,
yeah,
Ahmed. Speaking about Ahmed, Ahmed Ben Ahmed
yeah,
wrestled same
yeah.
Ahmed, but he was on the right side.
Good. It's good. Again, all human beings are capable of doing great things. Did you see when they gave him the check? What he said? That was hilarious. They gave him a check for like $1.5 million.
Million.
And he said, I earned it. That's what he said. I loved it. And he's lying in bed. He got shot. He did, Lemais. He earned it. But he said it was just like, as he took it, they say, we've got this for you. He said, yeah, I deserve. No, he said, I deserve it. That's what he said. I deserve it. And they
Whoa.
and they put subtitles with a question mark, but that's not how he said it. He said, I deserve it. Great, good on him. Good Ahmed bin Ahmed, whatever.
That's what we said last night. All the advertising is, I deserve it.
Exactly, it's the same thing. It's just we're just caught up in ourselves. But it is important to recognize though that when you talk to people and they talk about what's going on and it's going to only get it's only looks like it's only going to get hotter, is try and make sure to bring people back to reality and just say, look, it's the same thing that happens every other generation, and we're going through it now, and we need to pull ourselves together. We need to really we need to. We need to stop getting distracted and we need to buckle down. Okay, we'll finish off Perik Lama Bays next week, B'ezrat Hashem. Okay, Chazak v'yamatz, Chevrolet.